Out of body, maybe I'm like Aristotle, baby. I'm here for a reason. Nihilists, they fucking hate me. I don't really make sense. Make dollars, call me crazy. Not smooth with the ladies, so I guess I must be wavy. More likes than you know people. It's not about me. I do it for.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Alex Cuesta Show. How is everybody doing on this Wednesday, March 29th of 2023? If you could tell, we got something special going on here. We got something fun going on. David isn't with us today. He has to do his 9 to 5, which is unfortunate. He has work tonight, but good enough to fill in for him is our good buddy. You've heard him before. You just heard him rapping. HACKnoCAP. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, Alex? Thanks for having me on.
Good. I tried to do something smooth with the music. It worked out terribly. I'll probably have to go and fix it in the post edit. So hopefully it's good enough that nobody realizes when they're listening to this.
That's fine. We look at the game film. We correct it next time.
Exactly. So before we get into our fun stuff, like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars, Spotify and iTunes, spread this word of mouth. Find us on the socials at the Alex Cuesta Show. Now, funnily enough, Hack, you weren't even supposed to be the guest today. You were actually supposed to be the fill-in co-host for David. Our guest was not able to jump on. No harm, no foul. We will have them on sometime in the future soon. So we're good there. I want to talk about our guest last week first before we jump in, though. We had Josiah Rises on. He was an OG member of Geeks and Gamers. He has his new company out. He's a CEO of Epicverse, co-founded with Epic Mike. And we're just pumped for everything he's doing. We had a great show last week. He's a very, religiously moral set guy. Believes in the moral foundation of things and is trying to shake up woke Hollywood culture and infuse more, good culture and good movies, good music, good stuff like that. Not even music, good film. He stays in the film realm. So we're excited for Josiah. Please go back and listen to that. It was a great show. But yeah, this week, it's me and you, Hack. What's up, brother?
I'm here for it. Wait, can I show you something?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if you could see. I'm going to stand on the chair here. Check out the shorts.
Oh, who's on that? Is that Deku?
No.
I can't see.
Get closer.
I can't see. Who is that?
Asta.
It's Asta. That's incredible. Those are great shorts. So yeah, if you can't tell, we're weebs. But those are really cool. I'm excited.
That's the energy I'm bringing.
Yeah, that's the energy. He has a Nick shirt on, which I could forgive him for, but the Astas make up for it. So the Asta shorts make up for it. For those that don't know, shame on you, number one. Number two, Asta is the main protagonist of Black Clover, one of the best manga and anime going on right now. So go shout out for Black Clover there. So I want to jump into the show today. Want to talk about, we're going to start off with something serious, Hack. Over in Nashville, Tennessee, 2 days ago now, there was a mass murder in a Presbyterian Christian private school. 3 adults, 3 9-year-old kids were gunned down. Now, the individual that gunned them down is a big hot topic, Hack, because there's, the individual, someone that would be considered a quote unquote protected class right now. They are, as I'm going to describe them, a woman suffering from gender dysphoria. Went and gunned down people. There was apparently a manifesto. I haven't seen anything from the manifesto yet, but I kind of just want to talk about, Hack, that it's a problem right now with the journalism and how it's going, right? Because if you look at a lot of the headlines from USA Today, New York Times, Reuters, they don't mention the fact that this individual was, a trans male, a female, biological female that did this. And if they do, they try to hide it. And I just think we're in a sad state of affairs where identity only matters sometimes, right? When these types of things are going on. But first and foremost, our hearts go out with the families of those killed. It was a terrible act. I'm not going to get into the gun debate here because there is no debate to be had there, to be quite honest. But Hack, just how do you feel about everything going down, the way it's been covered and everything like that?
First off, yeah, thoughts and prayers out to all the families affected, and whether it's gun control, we need more guns. That shouldn't really matter right now. The fact is, we need to stop what's happening in this country, and we should put a lot of our resources to protecting our own. As far as the media goes, the media is the media, and they're quickly running out of business. If you want to know what's going on nowadays, it's You see it on Twitter, see it on Facebook first. Whenever I'm watching the news, they try to hook you, and we'll tell you more right after this commercial break. And I just open up Twitter and turn off the TV.
Yeah, you're not wrong at all there. And big praise to the 2 police officers that
absolutely
took down this individual. The video is all over Twitter. You can go find it. It is a little graphic towards the end, so viewer discretion advised, obviously. But unlike Uvalde, where the police stayed put and allowed kids to be massacred, you saw it was under 4 minutes that this individual entered into that school. Under 4 minutes, these police officers entered the school. And if you watch it, they were very organized in the way they did it. Their training kicked in, and they went and they took out this individual. And it was no one's going to complain about this shot. Actually, maybe there are people that will complain because unfortunately, there's another part of this hack, and it's a lot of mainstream media doing this. They're trying to make the murderer the victim. They're really portraying this murder as the victim of society and this types of things. And, and I understand, like, this is a mental health thing, right? A lot of these people do this type of stuff. They're fucked up in the head. They have issues. And, I can understand having an empathetic side of it, right? Like, they're killers. They're not great people and this and that. But we have a mental health problem in this country. So there is a slight empathetic side that if this person was truly struggling with this type of stuff, now there's a lot of things that are going on that are causing this. But I can understand having a potential slight hint of that, right? In the thing, like, this is the main thing. They're a murderer. They had this issue, but that should be a paragraph. That should not be a whole article. You know what I mean? So I take issue with the framing of that. And we saw this with the Boston bombers that, they became freaking heartthrobs. We see this with certain types of individuals. And that kind of grinds my gears more than anything. The shitty coverage of whether or not telling their identity is whatever, trying to make them out as a victim, to me, pisses me off. Then we're not focusing on these 6 individuals dead, the 3 9-year-old kids that were killed. And they're an afterthought in these types of articles, and that frustrates me.
I mean, I think this is where my lack of consumption of media comes into play. I've watched very little news. I get a majority of my information from all sides, and I make my own opinion based off that. So I haven't really seen too much of the empathetic side to the evil person committing an evil deed. Yep. And I don't empathize at all. There's help out there, and you should never hurt another person. It's just how I was raised. It was how, if you have an issue, you're not alone, but you deal with it, and you do your best not to hurt others in that process. So I don't empathize, but at the same time, I think a discussion needs to be had. Mental health is a huge topic that people don't talk about. They're afraid to talk about. And I think if we were more open about it, a lot more things would get done.
Agreed. Yeah, certainly. I want to close this out by saying, there's a lot of things going on out there, and a lot of the articles are being written, and these Christian individuals are an afterthought, right? And this is pissing off a lot of Christians. And I just have to say to any of my Christian brothers and sisters out there, do not take the bait for the narrative that they're laying down. They would like nothing more than to see a bunch of angry, violent Christians go out there right now, because there's already a big demonization of the Christians and the things that go on. Like it's out there. Well, don't give it to them. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Go in peace. There is righteous indignation. There is righteous anger. This is not the time. I'm telling you right now, pray for your brothers and sisters. Don't fall into this trap, because these types of things that go on, this is a trap. So don't fall into it. There are better ways to fight than being violent right now.
Well, and it also goes in practice what you preach.
Yeah.
I set very high standards for the way I live my life and the way I treat people. And I never let my anger boil over. I'm a pretty calm person for the most part. But it's doing the right thing when no one's looking. And I feel like if you live and you just try to make the world around you better, then and yelling at somebody and causing violence is not making the world better. So if you want change, there are ways around it.
You can do what Hack does, making good songs, creating culture. You can do cultural things are big. Cultural things do change, and your music is, it's different, right? You have a lot of different, because your upbeat songs will sometimes have depressing tones, and then sometimes your down songs will have positive messages in it. And it's not something that's new to the music world, but I think you do it really well. And there's more people like you that can be creating culture. You can write a book, you can make poetry, you can do good things like that. You can do a podcast like we do. So there is a way to affect change in a positive manner without doing violent things.
Well, that's what it's all about. If you think I'm in this just to make money and flex on people, you're 100% wrong. I work for free. My main goal, and I told my parents, I will make a difference in this world. So whether it's just the community I'm around, or if I could expand and change people's lives, like just make a positive impact and leave this world when it's time for me to check out, no matter what time, that I left it better than when I found it.
And I think you'll do just that. I really do. I so. Not just because you're my little brother, but because, I like your music. I show it to everybody.
Thank you.
And I've gotten a lot of positive reactions. So I think you're going to do well. But something that may directly affect you in the near future is, right now, ridiculously, the Restrict Act is what it's being called, or the Ban TikTok Act, which is not at all what it is, already passed through the House.
Yeah.
And it is now in the Senate. And it is at a dangerous level of being passed. Now, I have to say, Rand Paul is a freaking hero. During the roll call today about the Restrict Act, as Josh Hawley's up there trying to do, and this isn't a shot at Josh, Rand Paul is the only one that stand up and said, no, I'm going to stand up for the First Amendment here. We're not doing this.
Mm-hmm.
This is overreach. So good on Rand Paul, standing by his values, one of the rare individuals there that for the most part, we see has not succumbed to lobbying culture that is a part of Washington. But for those that don't know, for those that haven't read, and please, it is a longer piece of legislation to read because it's boring as shit. But I think it's only like 40, 50 pages. And 12 of them is definitions. Go search Restrict Act 2023 PDF on Google, Brave, whatever you have, DuckDuckGo. You can read from Congress.gov the actual document. Don't take it from Hack and I. Don't take it from Twitter snippets. Go read the bills. I haven't said this enough. Used to do my daily show Hack, where I read a few of the bills on the podcast and broke them down, because a lot of these bills aren't the 2,000-page omnibus bills that we hear about and things like that. A lot of them are 30, 40, 50, 100 pages, like legalese, a lot of that stuff. But take the time to read it, because then you could see what's actually in it. I haven't read the full thing, but I have read about half of it. Mm-hmm. It's terrifying, Hack.
Yeah.
The bill is terrifying.
I mean, we say that the first 12 pages are definitions. I encourage everybody to read those definitions, because once you read the definitions and you could figure out what the bill is saying, you understand that these definitions that they're using to define certain terminology, it's extremely loose.
Yes.
And it's funny because the way the government is going about it is like, how do you beat China? How do you beat Venezuela? How do you just become them? This isn't what our country was built on. And I'm not just saying this from a TikTok standpoint. I'm talking Ring doorbell cameras. I'm talking, we're using Zoom right now. This is stuff that just violates Americans' privacy. This isn't what we were built on. We were built on fighting that and finding different ways around it to fight it. And that's what I think we should do. We should not pass this at all.
So I'm going to read a snippet of the bill, and this is an important part. It's the beginning of Section 3. Mm-hmm. It's addressing information communication, and this is kind of what lays out the powers right away. The rest of the bill is kind of detailing the powers. This is what lays it out. Now, you're going to hear some things. Quite literally, they're forming a Soviet. And for those that don't know, a Soviet is a council. The Soviet Union was a union of councils, but they're forming a Soviet, a council, to be able to decide what is allowed on the internet and what isn't. This is exactly what it is. So let me do a quick reading. The secretary, in consultation with the relevant executive department of agency heads, is authorized to and shall take action to identify, deter, disrupt, prevent, prohibit, investigate, or otherwise mitigate, including by negotiating, entering into, or imposing and enforcing any mitigation measures to address any risk arising from any covered transaction by any person or with respect to any property subject to jurisdiction of the United States that the secretary determines, 1, poses an undue or unacceptable risk of A, sabotage or subversion of the design, integrity, manufacturing, production, distribution, installation, operation, or maintenance of information and communications technology products that services in the United States. So I'll just real quick right there. They're giving the Secretary of Commerce. Now, Secretary of Commerce is the one that has this power. They're giving the Secretary of Commerce the power to make a determination to open up a file on something that they deem is a sabotage or subversion. It is a completely subjective thing. Number one, that's that first part. And so any services, products or services that go into the United States. B, a catastrophic effects on security or resilience of the critical infrastructure or digital economy of the United States. That could be anything. That could be anything. If the Secretary of Commerce deems that your words could determine that. So if you're an influential person on Twitter and what you're saying may have a big issue that would cause the United States in the digital space, you could be eliminated. Now, I know it doesn't seem like a big thing. There are a lot of people that make their whole livings on the internet now. This is quite literally challenging livelihoods. So we'll continue real quick. C, interfering in or altering the result or of a reported, interfering in or altering the result or reported result of a federal election as determined in coordination with the Attorney General, the Director of National Intelligence, the Secretary of Treasury, and the Federal Election Commission. Right there. That's huge. You can't criticize elections at all. You can't be critical of them. That right there is putting the kibosh on anyone that did the Stop the Steal, which again, I'm not 100% in lockstep with the Stop the Steal people, but they have the right to say it. And this could also extend to any congressmen that are on the internet doing it. The secretary could take action against them on their digital platform. And again, coercive or criminal activities by foreign adversaries that are designed to undermine democratic processes and institutions or steer policy and regulatory decisions in favor of the strategic objectives as foreign adversaries to the detriment of national security of the United States, as determined in coordination with the Attorney General, Director of National Intelligence, Secretary of Treasury, and Federal Election Commissions. And the last thing is, otherwise poses an undue or unacceptable risk to the national security of the United States and the safety of United States persons. That is an extremely vague set of powers. And what it is saying is the Secretary of Commerce can eliminate you from the space of internet, period. Just because.
Big brother.
Seriously, big brother. And also, they're framing it as TikTok. That extends to all social media platforms, not just the people, the platforms. And if you think it's going to stop their hack, it's not.
No.
What about the New York Post when they had the Hunter Biden story? You think under this that they're not going to eliminate the New York Post online completely and totally? Take away their whole website? It's so short-sighted. And I think one of my main issues is you're leaving it to a bunch of the appointed bureaucrats by the current president.
And not to mention, if you watch that hearing with TikTok, these motherfuckers don't know what they're talking about. There were like
Nothing.
3 good questions, and 2 of them were by Dan Crenshaw, who actually seems in tune with like society and technology.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of Dan Crenshaw, but he did have the best questions there, and which is sad because Dan Crenshaw should not be giving the best questions. But it's just, and I think my biggest issue is it really all depends on the regime that's there, right? The administration at the time that is going to now determine what is acceptable information on the internet. Everyone freaked out when Joe Biden tried to make that disinformation board, right? That was a huge deal. You can't do what is this? This is a disinformation board, but instead of putting it through an executive order, you're fooling a bunch of morons. Not even fooling. The Uniparty is going with this. I think there was maybe like 40 Republicans that voted against this in the House. I don't see many voting against it in the Senate. This is probably a bill that's going to pass. And it's embarrassing because it affects all of us. It affects us here because I put this out on the internet. It affects you with your music because now you can't say certain things in a song if it's offensive.
Yeah, and I mean, let's get this straight. This isn't because there are a bunch of teenagers dancing on TikTok.
No.
This is to silence the people. This is to silence anyone questioning your authority.
Mm-hmm.
This is scary stuff. This could very well be the beginning of the downfall of our country, what we stand for, what we represent. We're allowed to say what we want as long as we're not inciting anybody, calling people to action.
And, you know, this is being framed as, because TikTok is bad, right? They are a CCP company. They do collect data. It does get funneled back to the CCP. And there are some very important people that are on these social media platforms. So that is a legitimate, could be a national security threat.
Absolutely.
The problem is Section 230 protects these platforms so that they can't be punished as publishers. So anything on their platforms, they are protected by. Now, there is an argument to be said that they are publishers when they start taking away and, you know, banning people for certain things that they disagree with. That is what a publisher does. They're allowed to put on and take off what's on their platforms. This is not a way to correct Section 230. Giving the power to bureaucrats in the government to determine what is acceptable speech is not a good way to do this. This is the absolute last way you want to do it, because honestly, this gets passed. Hack, do we have elections anymore?
Because you can't voice against the current party in power, because then it's damaging the United States security. So you know what? We're gonna take that off the internet. No one's gonna hear it. Exactly,
and it's not even that too, because you have to think Fox News sucks. Mm-hmm. Fox News gets a lot of shit, but Fox News is not a very right-leaning organization. They're not.
No, they're all ran by the left.
That's going to be the only one left. That'll be the only source left. You're not all the podcasts, and then all the podcasts on the right that are successful. You're not going to hear them anymore. Mm-hmm. They're going to be gone. And this is not only going to stay on. You know, TikTok is a form on your phone. It is an app. Mm-hmm. This is going to extend to all the apps. This will be an app-wide thing. So goodbye if you want to make a pirate radio app that would be against the man or anything like that. This is going to be something where force lockstep. This is a very modern-day Maoist type of thing where only the propaganda that's allowed at the time will be allowed to be spoken. Anyone saying anything against them will be shut up and possibly disappeared. I think it's really, that's an extreme thing, but it wouldn't surprise me, Hack, because who's going to tell? Who can tell?
Because if you try to tell, it's a threat to national security, so they'll take it off anyway.
Exactly. It's scary. It's scary stuff. And there's a lot of scary shit going on with OpenAI saying they think AGI is going to be here by December. Like, fuck you, OpenAI. Stop it. Stop it. AGI is the worst thing possible. So you have AGI, you have Elon Musk, who doing a decent job on Twitter, but everybody forgets this little thing about Elon Musk. Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. Elon Musk is a climate catastrophist. Elon Musk is doing everything he can now to make money to go to Mars. Mm-hmm. I don't trust Neuralink in general. I sure as fuck don't trust Elon Musk's Neuralink, because you know what it's going to do, Hack? What's going to happen is all the happy-go-luckies are going to get Neuralink, right? Mm-hmm. And it's going to be easy. And then one day Elon Musk is going to go, all I need is 1 million people to come and help me fix my giant mega rocket. Beep, Neuralink, we are Elon Musk, we're going to fix. And they will just see like the scene like from what was that movie, Hocus Pocus, where all the parents are like walking to the concert, like after the concert. It's gonna be like that, except it's gonna be Elon Musk taking all the people with the Neuralink to go and like finish out building his Mars rocket.
It'll be like the SpongeBob movie when Plankton puts the chum buckets over everyone's head and they all fucking work with them.
That's exactly what it's gonna be. So, but
just, and I'm gonna be the Goofy Goober. I'm going to be the Goofy Goober.
I mean, I'm probably going to be Barnacle Boy, but but it's like that's the thing. It's like people tend to think that when we talk about these types of things, it's an overreaction, right? Mm-hmm. Having foresight is not an overreaction. You want to prepare for shit like this.
If you don't draw the line, where's the line?
And that's the thing. Is there a line right now? I encourage anybody listening. Nobody does this. Please write a letter and call your senator. If one person doing it, nobody reads. They care if they get 100 letters, 100 calls on the same exact subject. they actually will start to care, because now that is a bubbling, ballooning issue that can snowball and affect their chance of reelection. They don't actually give a fuck about what you have to say. They care that it might affect their reelection. So if 100 or 200 people give a call, write a letter about the same exact thing, you bet that we might actually be able to stop this. But people have to be willing to get civically involved. Go to the office. Every senator has an office, in your capital and in certain other areas of the state. Find an office. If you have the free time, go to the office. Go to the office, tell them you're a constituent of theirs and you would like them to vote no against the Restrict Act. And here is why.
And I think this is going to really unite the parties. Because both sides, as much as each side tries to demonize the other, they both argue on behalf of America. We all want what's best for the country. We all think there's different ways to go there. But the only way we could learn and make fair legislation is if we hear both sides. We hear the concerns of one side. What's the issue here? Oh, okay, if we do this all the way to the right, then okay, people are going to be affected here. But if we do it all the way to the left, the way they want to do it, it's going to affect people in this way. So you need that dialogue. You need that devil's advocate, if you will, to make fair legislation and progress this country.
So right now, though, is that going to happen? The left is in power. They have one chamber of the House. They have the presidency, and the rhetoric is terrible right now. There is no talking. Like, I am happy on Twitter when I get a civil debate, semi-debate with an individual. That makes me happy, and I thank them for having pleasant candor. But that doesn't happen. It's all a screaming match, because anyone that pays attention is probably on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So they do live in that echo chamber, and that echo chamber is fuck the other side. They're all Nazis. And this is both sides saying this. They're all Nazis. They're all trying to kill people. They hate the country. They're trying to destroy it. And I feel like I agree with you. We need that rhetoric from both sides, right?
Yeah, and I think I think this is a great place to start. I think both sides agree with what this country was built on. And the First Amendment is what makes this country the greatest country in the world. There's no other country that has a First Amendment.
No, there isn't. And so it's a difficult topic. I hope you're right. I hope we can come together. The only people I want to leave out are the leftists. You're Marxists. Get the fuck out of here. We don't want any of you Marxists. I don't want your opinions. I know your opinions. I've read probably more of your shit than you even have, than what you know. I know it. Go away. I don't want you can speak. You have the right to speak. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, but either way, even if you do get into a debate with somebody who happens to have a different belief than you, it is important to understand that you both want what's best for the country. It's just different means of getting there.
You're a nice guy. I tend to not be as nice anymore, but you are a nice chap. So we're going to jump in to something that's actually pleasant, though. We're not going to be angry anymore. We're going to be happy. Hack. The Jets all but have Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback.
So close.
I mean, I think the last time we had you on, it was a possibility, I think, at that point. It was a possibility that Rodgers will be coming. I think we talked a little bit about it. But officially went on the Pat McAfee show, and it was like, I want to play for the New York Jets. Now, they're in a holdup for compensation. It seems like the Packers want the Jets number one, the first round pick. Joe Douglas is a dog and is telling him to kick rocks. It seems like now Woody Johnson coming out and making stupid statements doesn't help. Coming in saying, I think we're all anxious. Like, shut the fuck up, Woody. Let Joe do his job. But I think, we are the Jets, so we got to keep our fingers crossed.
That's the thing. This kind of shit doesn't happen to any other team but the New York Jets. And it's funny because the Packers think they have the leverage and the Jets think they have the leverage. And it's just a pissing match. And it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen. And if it doesn't, I don't know. I don't know what to do. But if it does happen, you got to set your expectations
to Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl or bust. You got 2 years with this guy. Yeah. And you're bringing in talent, Alan Lazard. We're hopefully going to sign that center out of Tennessee. Yep. Odell wants to play with Aaron Rodgers. We have a stacked wide receiver.
And Hardman just came over.
Absolutely. We have a return threat, a deep threat, a solid medium to short range route runner.
Yep.
And he's got burners. So I think Mecole could really thrive in New York, where, he's always had, Pat Mahomes throwing to him. And when he did get a chance to shine, Tyreek Hill was on his team for the most part. So I think he could really be his own Tyreek Hill. And I'm not going to compare him to Tyreek Hill, but I think he could really set the world ablaze.
Yeah, they have everything in place to be like, a perfect team in a way, because Garrett Wilson is a bona fide number one. He's going to be a top 5 receiving threat in the NFL this year. Like, he was the offensive rookie of the year for a reason, ahead of some really good guys that had some really good performances last year in his own position.
Quarterbacks.
Yeah, with 3 different quarterbacks and only one functional, unlike White. So let's mind you, only one truly functional quarterback, because Flacco had good numbers. They were in shit time and he was throwing the ball 50 times. Yeah. So it wasn't ideal. So Garrett Wilson's going to be good. You have Lazard, and if OBJ comes over, they're kind of going to take turns over who's the number 2, I think, every game. Because I think either of them can have that type of burst explosion of who gets what. And then you have a guy like Hardman underneath who's going to run a lot of the gadget plays that we've seen in the NFL, but he's also going to be a very good underneath guy. And I'm just excited because we have 2 really good tight ends, and Rucker could take a step up. We have the best running back in the division and one of the best running backs in the NFL, and Breece Hall, when he returns. This team is set up to be good. Now, they just have whoever is under center, whether it's Rodgers or not, we got to protect them. And right now, Joe Douglas doing a nice job to get some depth meat, but we need some starters. Vera Tucker is going to come back, and I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Dwayne Brown is still there. He's still there. As of now, he's still our starting left tackle. There's nothing else. Like, what else are you going to say? He's still the starting left tackle. Outside of that, we got to fill in a lot of gaps there.
I mean, we'll see what Mekhi has. We'll see what he's working super hard. I feel like his mentality really changed this last year. He's got super slim. He is one more diet week away from being a tight end. So I'm excited.
The picture that he just put out with him, Naganu, and Schwarzenegger, where Schwarzenegger is the smallest guy between Naganu and Mekhi, is incredible.
Yeah,
because Arnold Schwarzenegger is an absolute ox, and it's sad because I don't consider Laken Tomlinson a starter. I know he's getting paid starter money, but we got to find a replacement for Laken Tomlinson. He made McGovern and Dwayne Brown look significantly worse than they were last year. Because he was just awful. And it's sad because he has the right mentality. He's a very positive guy. Anybody that watched one Jets drive probably really likes Laken Tomlinson because he's a great personality.
And not even that.
Play better.
He played like shit this year, but the year before he was lights out. I mean, so this is, I think, the make or break year. You got to give him a chance.
Yeah. I do want to give him a chance, but it's got to be a short leash.
Yeah.
Because you got to protect Aaron Rodgers if he's there.
Oh, absolutely.
Whoever it is. And again, whoever it is, because I'm not counting my chickens. Rodgers wants to play. And you talk about leverage. The Green Bay has no leverage, okay? What are you going to do? Pay the guy $60 million to sit on the bench? Because he's not going to retire. Aaron Rodgers won't retire. He just won't play for you, and he'll sit on the bench, and you'll pay him $60 million. And you don't want that PR. You don't want this divorce to be that bad. It already seems like it's going to be a little messy, but you're getting him out of conference. And just make the deal. Stop being set on the number 13. You're not going to get it. Just take the 2 seconds we have and be happy. Like, that's it. And maybe get a conditional, like, listen, do the conditional. So the Jets go to a Super Bowl, next year's will be a first. Like, I think that's fair. I think that's fair, but I'm a Jets fan, so I'm biased. So who has been your favorite addition that we've gotten so far?
I mean, I'm counting my chickens. It's Aaron Rodgers. I already changed some passwords to include the number 12 in it. So I'm dead set on Aaron Rodgers. I like Alan Lazard. I think the Chuck Clark addition through the trade with the Ravens is huge to get a competent safety to go along with our already dominant defense. I'd like to see us pick up a D tackle. I wouldn't be surprised if we go D tackle with the 13. People are all saying, oh, offensive lineman, protect Aaron Rodgers, but we're sweating to get people at that DT position.
Kind of sad to see Calais Campbell go to a 1-year deal to Atlanta. I really wanted Calais Campbell. I thought he was really good next to Quentin down there.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, he's a DN for the most part, but you could run him in the middle. He's a big guy, big body. It's unfortunate, but I trust Joe Douglas with my life. He will find somebody, and we need to establish that 10 defensive lineman rotation again that we had last year,
Yep.
where we were just kind of rotating guys. Quinnen was kind of like that statue who didn't really have to come out. He came out sometimes, but what the Jets did last year was what no teams do in the NFL, and that's keep 10 defensive linemen on the roster.
It's what the Eagles championship team did, exactly what they did.
So I hope we keep that formula. We got a defense giving up 18 points a game, and
got better.
If you look at if you look at Aaron Rodgers' record with when their team gave up 18 or less than 18 points a game, it's like 40 something and 3.
Yeah, I mean, and we can even talk about the defense a little too, because there's so much to be said about just having Sauce Gardner coming back for another year with DJ Reed and Michael Carter Jr., Michael Carter III, that does not get enough credit.
And you get these rookie
as a slot guy.
Yeah, and you get these rookie guys like Sauce. We saw them with not a full NFL offseason workout program.
Yep.
So that big jump could really happen from that first to second year. I don't think we've seen the best of Sauce Gardner, which is wild.
No, and I'm excited to see Clemens, who's my current favorite Jet, Michael Clemens, just because
Scary.
The guy looks like he's going to eat you, and then when he opens up his mouth, it confirms he might eat you. Like, he just looks like, honestly, if they ever make another Hitman movie, like, he should play the Hitman, because he just looks perfect. Like, he will kill everything. Absolutely. And just like his sense of humor, like when he smiles, there's malicious intent behind that smile. It's amazing. He's my favorite person on the team, but I think he could possibly be a slight answer because he can kick in and play D tackle. So they have a lot going on there. Johnson, I think, is going to come back better. He looked to be coming around. Salah all but confirmed that they're going to figure out something with Carl Lawson. Mm-hmm. So it looks like we'll have Lawson back. Huff was already brought back.
I was about to say Bryce Huff is a dog.
Bryce Huff is a dog. And Lawson's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder, because although statistically he had a decent year, on the field, he did not step up.
He didn't
do his job.
A lot of his contributions is QB pressures, and he's always going to have a lot of QB pressures. It's just, I think the Jets expected him to really up that sack number, which he didn't, unfortunately. But, another year in the system, more guys, better rotation. They're only going to get better.
Now, are you at all concerned about our linebackers? Quincy got re-signed. CJ's obviously back. They haven't finished. They haven't re-signed Quan Alexander yet, which I really want them to bring Quan back. But at the same time, that was easily the weak. Outside of our safeties, our safety play was bad, but our linebacker play wasn't fantastic outside of CJ. Quincy was up and down. Quan laid big hits, but in coverage, he was a little bit of a liability at times. Would you like to see an upgrade? As much as we all love the boom that Quan Alexander brought, he was kind of the type of guy, the skinny linebacker that Robert Saleh wants. Mm-hmm. Do you want to see an upgrade at that position?
I think what we have right now, or what we had last year, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Players are going to make mistakes, and certain players aren't going to be as good as other players. But if you have something good, bring it back. And then bring in a younger guy or bring in somebody else to challenge them.
And I kind of want to close out on this a little bit. Joe Douglas is trying to trade Braden Mann. If he can trade a punter, put a freaking statue up of this man. If he can get anything for a punter, I would be ecstatic.
We need a statue at MetLife if he trades a punter.
It would be incredible, but man, I'm excited for the Jets this year. And again, every time I'm excited for the Jets, it concerns me. I got excited for the Jets last year, but during that run, and it was scary.
But this is the first time where so last year we were excited because we had so much young talent, but it was like a nervous excitement because we didn't really know what this talent was capable of. Now we know what this talent is capable of, and we know the talent we are bringing in to the organization. So it is genuine excitement for the season, genuine excitement for the future, and genuine excitement for a possible deep playoff run.
So it's interesting too, because a lot of people are making the parallel to when Brett Favre came over to the Jets. And I remember you guys, I don't know how old were you when Brett Favre came over? You had to be pretty young. You obviously knew what was going on, but like young, like I was.
Yeah, I might have been 11, 13, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I remember buying that Madden, which had Brett Favre in the Green Bay uniform.
And it came with the paper.
Well, I had it before the paper. I had to go to Walmart to get the sleeve because I had pre-ordered the game.
Oh, okay.
I went to Walmart and they gave me a sleeve to put over in the Jets uniform. So I remember that madness. And it's like there are some parallels. Don't get me wrong. And the excitement level, I think, has to be where the parallel is. Because when the Jets got Brett Favre, he's similar to where Aaron Rodgers was. He was definitely entering the twilight, but obviously could still play. And it showed because the Jets were the best team in football that year until he tore his shoulder and didn't tell anybody and decided to fuck the Jets over for his streak. But it was a great run until 8-3. And they were great. They had just beaten the Tennessee Titans, the best team in football. Leon Washington was the most exciting player in football, and the wheels fell off. So it's like I'm always cautiously optimistic when it comes to the Jets and good things happening. Because yes, it always feels different. Arguably, we could have one of the best draft classes in the history of football if all the guys pan out the way they're looking like they should. But at the same time, we are the New York Football Jets. The football gods hate us. They do not give us nice things. And I mean, just look at Zach Wilson.
Well, ceremonial. The unretirement of the number 12 when Aaron Rodgers comes, that will mark the turning point in Jets luck history. We'll have a top 5 quarterback in the league who will get roughing the passer calls. We were victims of.
I don't think he will. He's wearing the Jets uniform.
See, that's the thing.
He will.
There has to be a bias against the Jets, but you can't turn a blind eye to Aaron Rodgers.
There's a bias against any team that's supposed to be bad.
Yeah, but the thing is, no, but we were the only team last year that did not, that was not on the positive side of a roughing the passer call.
And Garrett Wilson got killed a few times out of bounds and didn't get any calls. Like there was certainly a bias. Like you could see it. And there's a few teams that get it all the time. The Lions, the Browns, we do. That just like, even when we're good and you get the whole entire you made a good play flag. Like that happens. That's a real thing. And they just call holding somewhere in like the back corner of the end zone when we had the ball at the other team's 5. Like they do some dumb shit calls and it happens. But
I'm looking at you, Corey Davis.
Damn it, Corey Davis. I don't think Corey Davis is on this roster much longer. And I don't mind Corey Davis. I think Denzel Mims could do what Corey Davis does.
Yeah.
So I'm okay if we want to get rid of him. And there we go. Take Corey Davis, take 2 second-round picks, go away, Green Bay. Give us Rodgers now.
I'm with that.
I think I am too. But I'm also with the fact that Hack, I appreciate you jumping on the show as always, brother, coming in, filling in, and being the awesome dude that you are.
Absolutely. I'm blessed to have a friend like you. And, I'm always down to jump in when I can.
Yeah, this was great. We touched on some really good topics. We will be back as always next week. David won't be with us next week. We'll have another guest host. We will have a guest. I'm not telling anybody who any of them are. You got to come back to see it. We're like Hack said, we're that stupid news station where it's like, we're going to tell you something. Come back in 5 minutes after the commercial.
And you can't find this answer on Twitter.
No, but go find us on Twitter. Go search the Alex Cuesta Show, and you will find us on all social media. Like, share, follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars. Spread this word of mouth. And we are going to jump out, as we always do in Hack Is, playing a little bit of some HACKnoCAP music. So enjoy this. And that song in the beginning was unreleased. This song is also unreleased. So
new project in May.
Yeah, buddy. HACKnoCAP. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
They want me number 2, I'm the backup plan. Declaring for the draft, show you how great I am. Brady in this bitch, he look like Bledsoe, know how to land. Always tried replacing me, rotation, guess she not a fan. But I'm not bugging or tripping, in fact I'm feeling up. I'm running around my whole town for hours, got stamina. And when those thoughts creeping, they tell me that I'm not enough. I got friends who are there for me and they pick me up, so don't mind checking up on